Hello Jefferson friends, I'm back this week to read you a story during our remote learning time. I've picked a story this week called Coyote and the Laughing Butterflies. It is a retelling of a Native American folktale and it stars Coyote, who is a trickster. This book is written and illustrated by Harriet Peck Taylor. It's published by Simon & Schuster Books for Young Readers, and we do have permission to read this story for you this week. And here's Coyote and the Laughing Butterflies. In ancient times, when all the animals could talk, there lived a coyote. Coyote and his wife made their home on top of a grassy mesa surrounded by little hills. A day's journey from their home was a big lake. The water in the lake was so salty that salt crystals collected on the shoreline. Animals came from all around to dig up salt to use for cooking. One morning, Coyote was, as usual, napping in the sun when his wife came to him and said, "Coyote, please go to the big salty lake to get salt for me. I need it for cooking." Coyote lazily rose, took a sack, and headed for the big salty lake. He followed the trail along the ridge and then around some small hills, through sagebrush, and down into the valley of the big salty lake. Coyote said to himself, "What a good coyote I am. I've come all this way in the hot sun. I deserve a short rest." He yawned and he settled down in the shade of a large cactus. Soon he was fast asleep. Now, in this flower-filled meadow, there lived many beautiful butterflies. One of them flew over Coyote's head and exclaimed, "Look at lazy Coyote, sleeping when he should be gathering salt. Let's play a trick on him." The butterflies flew down, and each took a hold of a single hair in Coyote's fur. In this way, they were able to lift him off the ground. Coyote snored loudly, "Huzzah! Huzzah!" The butterflies heard it as they flew over the mountains and meadows. Finally, they dropped him, still asleep, back at his home. The butterflies flew in crazy patterns in the sky, laughing all the way back to the meadow. When Coyote woke up, he was very puzzled to find himself back at home. He wrinkled his furry forehead and wondered how he had gotten there. When his wife saw him yawning beside the empty sack, she scolded, "You lazy Coyote! Why didn't you get my salt?" Coyote promised that the very next morning he would go get the salt. The next day, Coyote woke bright and early while the sun was still a big orange ball at the edge of the earth. This time he ran faster than a tumbleweed as it rolls across the desert. At a bend in the canyon, he saw a lizard lounging lazily on a rock. "Coyote, my friend, what's your rush? Sit and rest a while with me on my rock," the lizard said. "Not today, lizard. I need to go straight to the big salty lake to get salt," Coyote shouted as he hurried past. By the time he got to the big salty lake, he was so tired he could barely lift his empty sack. He told himself, "I've got plenty of time. I'll take a short nap," and he was soon sound asleep. When the butterflies heard Coyote's loud snoring, they decided to play their trick again. One by one, they landed on Coyote, and they lifted him toward the white puffy clouds. Whish went the wind as it whistled softly through Coyote's fur. He never woke up, not even when he was dropped at home. The butterflies were laughing hard as they flew away, zigzagging across the sunset sky. When Coyote's wife came home, she again found him asleep next to his empty sack. Now she was really mad. She sat down next to him with her empty wooden bowl and sighed very loudly. Coyote awoke and jumped up all at once, rubbing his eyes with his big paws. "My wife, I am sure that I went to the lake. My legs are stiff and sore from all this running," he told her. She just shook her head and said, "Coyote, I'll give you one more chance. I need the salt by tomorrow." "Tomorrow you will have the salt," Coyote promised. The next day, he woke up and stretched his sore muscles. This time, he decided not even to follow the trail, but to take a shortcut to the lake. He climbed hills and he ran across some little streams, through sagebrush and willows. When he came to the bank of a wide river, his friend Beaver helped him to get across. Coyote arrived at the big salty lake more tired than ever. Still determined, he filled his whole sack with salt. "My, what a thoughtful coyote I am! My wife will be so proud of me," he thought. He decided he had time for just a short nap. His sack made a wonderful pillow, and he was soon sound asleep. At last the butterflies felt sorry for Coyote. They each grabbed a hair and lifted him once again, But this time, some of them also took hold of the threads from his heavy salt sack and lifted that too. Once again, they flew over winding canyons and rocky mesas, golden in the evening light. They dropped him and his sack back at home just as the sun was setting. As soon as he was awake, Coyote saw that he was at home again, and he yipped in frustration. But then he noticed the sack filled with salt, and now he was really puzzled. Nevertheless, he took the sack to his wife and said proudly, "I brought you the biggest sack of salt you ever saw." She smiled at him and said, "Thank you, Coyote, my husband. I'll start cooking this minute." Coyote's wife cooked until she had made enough food to feed herself and Coyote and all their friends. Badger and Bobcat came to the feast, and Roadrunner and Rabbit, and of course, Lizard, Beaver, and all the beautiful butterflies. Coyote and his wife shared their food, giving thanks for the harvest. They danced together nose to nose, Coyote style, as the harvest moon was rising big and orange in the twilight sky. Even today, butterflies remember the trick that was played on Coyote. They flutter high and low, to and fro, laughing so hard, too hard to fly straight, all day long in the yellow sunshine. The end. This was the story Coyote and the Laughing Butterflies, and I hope you liked it.